Commander Ta-Won Kim's eyes narrowed as he stared at the large screen. Red warnings flashed everywhere in Earth Defense Command headquarters. The alien ships had shown up just 3 days ago. They now hung over every big city on Earth, not moving. "They're sending another message, sir," said Lieutenant Ju Park. Her voice stayed calm, even though everyone in the room felt scared. The face that appeared on screen made some staff members step back. Supreme Commander Dune of the Galactic HFY looked down at them. His skin had a purple color, and he had more eyes than humans. For 3 days, his face had scared people all over Earth. "People of Earth," Doom said with a voice full of pride, "your simple world is not good enough to join our galactic community as equals. You will give us your resources and become our servants, or you will face punishment." Kim opened his mouth to speak, but it was too late. The attack had already started. Long metal rods fell from the alien ships. They crashed into Seoul, New York, London, and many other cities at the same time. Buildings fell. Roads split open. Fires started everywhere. But Kim noticed something strange. The aliens were careful not to destroy everything. They ruined buildings and roads but left most resources untouched. "They want our planet intact," Kim said quietly. "They're just breaking our spirit." The command center shook as explosions hit nearby. Screens went dark. Backup power came on, casting everything in dim red light. "Status report," Kim shouted over the noise. An officer looked up from his computer. "Sir, they're hitting every major city. Military bases too. Our air forces are trying to respond, but our planes are being shot down before they get close to the alien ships." Kim slammed his fist on the table. "Get me connected to any surviving government officials. We need to coordinate what's left of our forces." "Sir," Park said, her face pale, "I can't reach anyone. All communication networks are down." Outside, the sky had turned dark with smoke. The once proud skyline of Seoul now lay in ruins. People ran through streets covered in dust and broken glass. Emergency sirens wailed in the distance. In what was left of downtown Seoul, Director Sun-hee Lee pushed aside a piece of concrete that had fallen on her desk. Her office at the Korean Space Agency was now just broken walls and ceiling. She touched her forehead, and her hand came away bloody. Lee walked carefully to what remained of the window. Through the smoke, she could see the alien ships still floating in the sky. They looked like dark spots against the sun. "Director Lee." A young man in a torn lab coat helped an injured woman through the doorway. "Thank goodness you're alive. Most of the East Wing is gone." "How many survivors?" Lee asked, tearing a piece of her sleeve to wrap around her bleeding head. "Maybe 30 from this building. The basement labs protected some of our people." Lee nodded. She looked at her computer, somehow still working on emergency power. The screen showed the same scene playing out across the world. Paris, Tokyo, Cairo, all burning. "What do they want?" the young scientist asked, his voice shaking. "They want us to break," Lee said. "They want us to give up." She straightened her back and wiped blood from her eyes. "Get everyone to the backup facility. The underground one." "But Director, that's just a research station. It's not built for." "It's built to be hidden." Lee cut him off. "And it has the prototype communications array. We need to find out who else has survived and start planning." A loud boom shook the building again. More dust fell from what remained of the ceiling. "They think this will break us," Lee whispered as she looked up at the alien ships. "How little they understand humanity." The young scientist looked confused. "Director." Lee's eyes showed a fierce determination that surprised even her. "Humanity has faced disasters before. Plagues, wars, natural disasters. We always rebuild. We always fight back." She picked up a hard drive from her broken desk. "And this time will be no different. This isn't the end. It's just the beginning of their biggest mistake." As they made their way down the broken staircase, Lee looked back one last time at the alien ships. They had no idea what they had just started. The bunker deep under the Rocky Mountains hummed with low voices and the soft beep of computers. 30 days had passed since the aliens attacked Earth. 30 days of smoke, fire, and fear. General Chuno Kang stood at the front of the room. Dust from his journey still covered his uniform. His face showed the tiredness of someone who had seen too much suffering. "Welcome, survivors of Earth's leadership," Kang said. His voice was strong despite his tired look. "Each of you represents what remains of our governments and military forces." Around the table sat 20 people. Some wore military clothes like Kang. Others wore simple clothes now dirty from weeks of hiding and running. All had the same hard look in their eyes. "The hegemony believes we're broken," Kang continued. "Their ground forces are landing to pacify our major population centers. They've taken over our space stations and set up blockades around Earth. They expect us to give up within days." A thin woman with white hair spoke up. "And why shouldn't they? Half our cities are gone. Our militaries are scattered. We can't even feed everyone who survived." Kang nodded to someone at the back of the room. "Dr. Haeun Choi will explain." Dr. Choi stepped forward. She was small but moved with purpose. A thin smile appeared on her face, and that's exactly what we want them to think. She pressed a button, and the screens around the room lit up. The leaders gasped. "What you're seeing is real," Choi said. "This is not old footage." The screens showed huge underground factories built inside mountains and under oceans. Workers moved around massive ships and weapons. In space, hidden bases floated in the asteroid belt. Weapons platforms sat disguised within Saturn's rings. "How is this possible?" asked a man wearing what remained of a business suit. "We never knew about this." "Project Phoenix," Choi said simply. "For more than 40 years, while nations argued publicly about space exploration, we worked together in secret. We prepared for the possibility that we weren't alone in space, and that not everyone out there would be friendly." Director Sun-Hee Lee stood up. Her face now had a long scar from the first attacks. After World War II, after the Cold War, the major powers realized something important. Public fighting could continue, but we needed secret cooperation for threats bigger than our differences. The screens changed to show alien ships landing on Earth. Thousands of troops marched out. Every piece of technology we showed to the world was carefully chosen. Lee continued. The International Space Station, the moon landings, the Mars rovers, all real, but all designed to show a specific image to anyone watching from space. An image of a planet still taking baby steps into space, General Kang added. A planet divided, spending more time fighting itself than preparing for outside threats. Dr. Choi pressed another button. The screens now showed massive ship engines being tested in secret bases on Mars. The hegemony saw what we wanted them to see, a fractured world with primitive space technology. They believed we were easy targets. An older military man slammed his hand on the table. "Then why didn't we use these weapons when they first attacked? Why let millions die?" The room went quiet. Lee and Choi exchanged looks. "Because we weren't ready," Lee admitted. "We needed time to activate everything. And we needed the hegemony to commit fully to their invasion." General Kang nodded. "If we had shown our true strength immediately, they would have called for reinforcements. They would have changed their approach. Now their main fleet is here, their leaders are confident, and their guard is down." Dr. Choi brought up a new image, a detailed plan of attack. "In 3 days, we launch Operation Phoenix. First, we take back our orbital space. Then we hit their ground forces. Then we take the fight to their fleet." Around the table, the leaders sat straighter. Hope replaced despair in their eyes. Director Lee, her scar red against her pale skin, smiled coldly. "Let them enjoy their victory. The real war hasn't even begun." As the meeting continued into the night, far above them, alien ships patrolled a planet they thought they had conquered. They had no idea what was waiting for them, hidden in plain sight. Sub-Commander Prak sat in his large chair on the bridge of the Hegemony command ship. His gray skin reflected the blue light from the screens around him. The massive vessel orbited Earth, giving him a perfect view of the planet they had conquered. Pathetic species, Prak said to himself as he read reports from the ground forces. They still resist in small groups, but most have accepted their fate. His four-fingered hand moved across the control panel, bringing up images from major cities. Alien soldiers patrolled streets filled with broken buildings. Humans walked with their heads down, now working for their new masters. The first alarm was so unexpected that Prak thought it was a mistake. A small red light blinked on his panel, then another, and another. Impossible, he muttered as the main screen showed multiple Hegemony communication satellites suddenly going dark. These primitives have no orbital capacity left. We destroyed all their space stations. His aide, an officer named Zik, rushed onto the bridge. Zik's mouthparts clicked rapidly, showing his worry. Sir, we're detecting energy signatures from the dark side of Earth's moon. They appear to be. The ship's lights flickered, cutting off Zik's words. The main screen went black. Emergency lights came on, casting the bridge in a dim red glow. What is happening? Prak shouted. Get our systems back online. The technicians worked frantically at their stations, but nothing happened. One by one, the ship's critical systems shut down. Life support remained on, but weapons, engines, and communications were dead. Sir, a technician called out, something is attacking our network. It's unlike any computer virus we've encountered before. Deep beneath the surface of the moon, in a base hidden from the aliens, Captain Min Ji-yoon watched her screens with satisfaction. Around her, 20 human hackers worked at their stations, their fingers flying across keyboards. Their cybersecurity is impressive, she commented to her second-in-command. But they never considered that our AIs would have such different architecture. They have no defense against our quantum infiltration methods. The large screen in front of her showed the status of every alien ship orbiting Earth. One by one, their systems were failing as the human cyber attack spread through their network. Captain, one of the hackers called out, the command vessel is now completely disabled. Moving to Phase 2. Yoon nodded. Send the signal to Colonel Ba. It's time. In high Earth orbit, what the aliens thought was a damaged space station suddenly came to life. For years, it had drifted among the debris of destroyed human satellites, looking like just another piece of space junk. The EDS Vengeance was humanity's secret weapon. Its outer shell had hidden its true nature from alien scans. Now that shell fell away, revealing a sleek warship bristling with weapons. On the bridge, Colonel Hyamuba stood tall as his crew prepared for battle. Through the main window, he could see the nearest Hegemony ship floating helplessly, its systems disabled by the cyber attack. Weapons status. Ba asked calmly. Plasma cannons charged and ready, sir. All 4 main batteries targeting the nearest Hegemony vessel. Ba touched a small photo attached to his control panel. It showed a family, his family, who had been in Seoul when the attack came. He had no idea if they were alive or dead. They bombed our cities, Ba said quietly. Now let's show them why that was a mistake. Fire. The Vengeance's plasma cannons lit up the darkness of space. Brilliant blue energy beams shot out, striking the disabled alien ship. The Hegemony vessel had no shields, no way to defend itself. The plasma cut through its hull like it was paper. Across Earth orbit, more human ships appeared. Some emerged from hidden bases on the moon. Others had been disguised as asteroids or debris. All now revealed their true nature and opened fire on the surprised alien fleet. On the Hegemony command vessel, Sub-Commander Prak watched in horror as his fleet was torn apart. Through the viewing window, he saw explosions bloom in silence across space. How? He whispered. How did they hide this from us? The ship shook as something locked onto their hull. The emergency communication system crackled to life. A human voice came through, speaking in perfect Hegemony language. Attention Hegemony Command Vessel. This is Colonel Han Mubai of Earth Defense Forces. Your fleet is defeated. Your ground forces are cut off. Prepare to be boarded. As armed humans in advanced spacesuits cut through the door to the bridge, Prak realized the terrible truth. They hadn't conquered a primitive species. They had awakened a sleeping giant. Supreme Commander Dune slammed his fist on the table, cracking its surface. The large war room fell silent as officers backed away from his anger. 3 months had passed since the hegemony forces attacked Earth. What should have been a quick victory had turned into a disaster. How is this possible? Dune demanded, his multiple eyes blinking rapidly in fury. These humans had primitive chemical rockets when we arrived. They were fighting among themselves. They were supposed to be easy to conquer. Reports from Earth showed hegemony forces retreating from city after city. Their once mighty fleet was now half its original size. Supply ships from the homeworlds were being attacked before they could reach Earth. Dune's science advisor Mok stepped forward, though he stayed out of striking distance. The thin alien's hand shook as he activated a small device. A hologram appeared above the table, showing captured human technology. "We were deceived, Commander," Mok said, his voice barely above a whisper. Their public space program was a facade. In secret, they developed technologies that rival or even exceed our own in several domains. The hologram showed human weapons that could cut through hegemony armor like paper, engines that could outrun their fastest ships, computers that could break their most secure codes. Impossible, Doom shouted. No species could hide such advances. They did not trust each other, Mok explained. Their nations competed publicly while working together in secret. They showed us what they wanted us to see. Far from Earth, in orbit around Jupiter, Admiral Do-Yem Kwan walked through the massive shipyard hidden within the giant planet's rings. Workers floated in zero gravity, building ships that combined human ingenuity with captured alien technology. The newest vessel, the Retribution, was nearly complete. It was 3 times larger than any ship humans had publicly built before the invasion. Its hull gleamed with a special metal that could absorb enemy scanner signals, making it nearly invisible. Kwan gathered his officers on an observation deck overlooking the shipyard. Below them, 20 new warships waited for their crews. The enemy made a critical error, Kwan told them, his voice firm and confident. They judged us by our apparent technology level, not by our capacity to adapt and improve. They gave us their best weapons by using them against us. He pointed to the Retribution. This ship contains improved versions of hegemony systems we captured. Their weapons are now our weapons, but better. Their shields are now our shields, but stronger. One of the younger officers spoke up. "Sir, is it true the hegemony is bringing reinforcements?" Kwan nodded. "Yes, but they will find a very different solar system than they expect." Back on Earth, in what had once been downtown Tokyo, Major Jaehyun Ryu checked her weapon one last time. It was a combination of human and alien technology, a rifle that fired energy bolts that could pierce hegemony armor. Around her, 30 resistance fighters prepared for battle. They wore mismatched clothes and carried different weapons, but all had the same determined look in their eyes. "The enemy convoy will pass here in 5 minutes," Ryu told them. "Remember the plan. Hit fast, take what we need, and disappear before their reinforcements arrive." Through her binoculars, Ryu watched as the alien vehicles approached. They moved slowly, cautiously. The aliens had learned to fear human ambushes, but they still needed to move supplies from their landing sites to their bases. They'd grown sloppy. Ryu whispered to her second-in-command, "Look at their formation. They expect an attack from the front, not from all sides." Her team was spread throughout the ruins, hidden in places the alien scanners couldn't detect. Months of fighting had taught humans all the weaknesses in hegemony technology. "We're not just fighting for our survival now," Ryu told her troops through their communication devices. "We're fighting to show the galaxy what happens when you underestimate humanity." She gave the signal. From all directions, energy weapons fired at the convoy. The first and last vehicles exploded, trapping the others. Hegemony soldiers jumped out, firing blindly into the ruins. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. When it was over, the resistance fighters loaded captured weapons and technology onto their vehicles and disappeared into the ruins of the city. As they drove away, Ryu looked back at the burning convoy. 3 months ago, such a victory would have seemed impossible. Now it was routine. The tide of war had turned, and the aliens who had so confidently attacked Earth were learning a painful lesson about human resilience. The massive Hegemony command base floated among the asteroids. It was the size of a small moon, bristling with weapons and surrounded by warships. For months, it had served as the aliens' main base for their invasion of Earth. Now it was surrounded by human ships. Fleet Admiral Minho Song stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiance. 1 year had passed since the Hegemony first attacked Earth. 1 year of suffering, fighting, and finally, pushing back. All ships in position, reported his second in command. The Hegemony forces are contained. Song nodded. He was a tall man with a calm face that showed none of the excitement he felt. This moment would decide the future of humanity. Open a channel to their command center, he ordered. On the large screen in front of him appeared the face of Supreme Commander Dune. The alien leader looked different from when he had first threatened Earth. His purple skin had paled. His many eyes darted nervously. "This is your only warning," Song stated in a calm voice. "Your forces have been driven from Earth. Your supply lines are cut. Your client species are rebelling across 3 sectors. Surrender or be destroyed." Doom's mouthparts clicked in anger. "You cannot hope to defeat the entire Hegemony. We span hundreds of worlds." Song's face showed no emotion. "We've analyzed your deployment patterns. Your fleet is overextended. Half your claimed worlds receive visits from your ships, less than once per Earth year. Your empire is a facade, impressive on star charts but hollow in reality." He leaned forward. "But more importantly, we've studied your history. You've conquered through fear and intimidation, facing little true resistance. You've grown complacent. We haven't." Doom seemed ready to argue more, but then looked at something off-screen. His expression changed. "What have you done?" he whispered. Song knew what the alien was seeing. Across the Hegemony's territory, planets that had been conquered were rising up. Ships that had been loyal were changing sides. The empire built on fear was falling apart now that someone had stood up to the bullies. 2 hours later, the once mighty Hegemony command base surrendered without firing a shot. 3 months after the final battle, Director Sun-Hee Lee stood before a crowd unlike any seen before on Earth. In the newly built Terran Diplomatic Center orbiting Earth, representatives from 27 different alien species had gathered. Lee's face still bore the scar from the first day of the invasion. But her eyes showed strength, not anger. "From the ashes of conflict, we propose a new beginning," she announced to the assembled aliens. "Not an empire, not a hegemony, but a true federation of equals. Earth extends its hand in friendship to all worlds who wish to join us in peaceful cooperation." The large room filled with sounds of agreement. Many of these species had suffered under hegemony rule for generations. The idea of true partnership instead of domination was new and exciting. At the back of the room, Admiral Quan and General Kang watched the proceedings with cautious optimism. "They seem eager for peace now," Quan said quietly. Kang nodded. "Peace is good, but we won't make the mistake of being unprepared again." Indeed, even as the peace talks continued, Earth's defenses grew stronger. The combined fleet now included ships of many designs, some human, some adapted from alien technology. Early warning systems extended throughout the solar system. In a secret facility deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Professor Haeyun Choi led a team of scientists from Earth and friendly alien worlds. They worked on new technologies that would protect not just Earth, but all worlds in the new Federation. "The prototype is ready for testing," one of her assistants announced. Choi nodded. On her screen was the design for a new defensive shield, one that could protect an entire planet from attack. It combined the best ideas from a dozen different worlds. "Begin the test," she ordered. As the machines hummed to life, Choi thought about how much had changed in just 1 year. The aliens had thought humans were weak, divided, primitive. They had seen Earth as an easy target. That mistake had cost them their empire. The new shield glowed to life, stronger than anything ever built before. Choi smiled with satisfaction. The universe had underestimated Earth once. It would not make that mistake again. The end.